Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to look at the game 13 from the FIDE World Chess Championship match between Dean Liren and Gukesh. Dean Liren is from China, Gukesh is from India. Dean Liren is the defending champion of the title, while Gukesh is the challenger who wants to contest for the title. He's already contesting for it. So, in this game 13, the score from game 12 is 6-6. Dean Liren equalized by playing game 12 well. He played white pieces against Gukesh. So in this game 13, Gukesh is playing white. Dean Liren will be playing black. Let's see the beauty the game has to offer us. In this position here, white to play, there are many options. However, Gukesh chooses to play pawn. He chooses to play pawn to e4. You know, this is a typical move for an aggressive player. However, most players have played e4. In fact, one of the most played moves. So, Dean Liren chooses to counter it with pawn to e6. The e6 ushers in the foundation for the French defense. d4, taking full control of the center with the pawns. We have pawns here, pawns here, pawns here, and pawns. This is just basic. However, one way to counter this center with the French defense is to launch the next strong move, which is d5 in the French defense. So, knight to c3 comes up. In this position here, pawn can simply take, knight will just take back. But Dean Liren went for an option with knight to f6, which provoked e5, attacking the knight. Knight f goes to d7. With the knight standing on d7, it is very important to note that black wants to fight for the center through this side of the board by playing c5. The bishop controls there, now the knight controls there, so it's a strong square for black. One way to counter this is to remaneuver your knight. The knight actually belongs to a square like this, then you play c3. So a way to prepare you from playing c3 is to put the knight on e2. That's exactly what Gukesh did in this game. c5 came up anyways, then he played c3. So you can defend the pawn further on d4. Knight to c6, pawn to a3. We have bishop to e7 with the intention to castle the king out of the center as quick as possible. So, bishop to e3 comes up, knight to b6, knight to f4. We have pawn takes, knight to c4. In this position, the knight on c4 is strong. He's attacking the pawn on b2 and posing a threat to capture the bishop on e3. If knight takes, pawn takes, this creates a kind of pawn structure in the center that black will not love to play. And at the same time, it is provoking you to make a move to defend this pawn here on b2. What to do? There's one solution that is permanent, which is taking away the knight from the board with your inactive bishop. So an idea here is to trade an active piece for your inactive piece. It's a very good concept. So Gukesh went on to capture this knight on c4 with the bishop. Pawn takes on c4, creating a space on d file for this pawn to move, although there are still obstacles. There is this obstacle there, and we have the queen and the knight. Knight on g to e2, we have b5. This defends this pawn. So, white castles, which is Gukesh. Now, Dean Liren castled here. We have knight to c3, going after this pawn. You can either defend with the pawn or defend the rook. Dean Liren chooses to go with the rook to b8, defending. Knight goes to h5, pawn push to f5. Pawn takes en passant. Yeah. Bishop takes on f6. In this position here, there is a line with knight takes, it is possible for rook to take. Queen can also take. Queen takes, then you push this pawn. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes, we check. If bishop blocks, then that's a blunder because queen takes, knight is coming. And it's also a double attack because the queen on d5 now support the knight to attack the pawn on b5. So a very good way to block this is the queen. So you are asking white this question: do you want to leave your queen here and still go ahead to capture the pawn? So in the light of this, let's go back to the initial position after this en passant here. Bishop takes on f6, then what we see was queen to f3. Queen to f3 looks very scary to me. I will explain. You see, when I say scary, if I'm playing chess, I'm playing my own concept, probably I'm playing with my own idea. I love not to put my queen in an awkward position. When this queen to f3 was played, I will ask myself this question and say, why? There's a rook standing here on f8. The bishop can easily move and create a discovered attack on the queen. But I also remember that if bishop moves, taking this pawn for example, then queen takes knight has won a full piece. So this move is also deceptive. It's luring you to make a move that might think you are winning. However, it's just like a trap. So this is under attack. What do you do? What did Dean Liren play to defend this? There is bishop move, and if bishop comes here to defend the knight, knight will take this pawn. You see, many ideas on the board. How do you cope with this? Dean Liren went on with queen to e8. Queen to e8, defend the knight and keep the tension on the board. Perhaps in this position again, once again, you cannot consider knight takes pawn because this comes with check. You get it? This comes with check, and if it happens like this, there is just a simple move like sidestepping the queen to attack the rook. Now you have to find a way to defend that rook. So if you have to play, maybe you have to make a move like this. Perhaps just maybe a bishop move, and maybe a trade will happen here. Just some concept on the board. But this was not played anyway. Let's look at what actually happened on the chessboard. After queen to f3, there is queen moves to e8 to defend it. Now knight takes check, rook takes attacking the queen. Then we have this move. Queen comes to g6. Very nice idea. f3, rook to f8, then rook on a to d1, knight to e7. Now let me talk about knight to e7. Knight to e7. I just look at knight to e7 and say, okay, one of the active pieces that could counter d5 is the knight. Since the bishop has not been developed and the bishop is looking for a good square to go to, the knight can hop back over to d5. It's not hopping back. Well, can go to d5. If knight takes, pawn takes, then we have a very good pawn structure here on this queen side. So how can Gukesh, counter this concept? You see, Gukesh, first of all, he played bishop to f4. Why? Haha. I don't really understand. Why bishop to f4? The bishop can be captured by the rook here, but this will just come up. Attacking the rook, attacking the rook. Which one will you save? If you try to save this, then it picks up the particular rook on b8. That was the concept of bishop to f4. So with that idea, Dean Liren thought for a long time and said, okay, I'm not going to fall for this trap. I'm going to play rook to b6 first. The reason for rook to b6 is to still defend this pawn. Now that rook is tied to that pawn. So bishop goes again to harass the rook. If the rook leaves, knight takes pawn, defends the bishop. Tactics. Rook goes back, attacking the bishop. Bishop now goes for the knight that could have fight for d5. He pins the knight to the rook with the intention to still take away the knight. So Dean Liren played rook out of the pin. Bishop takes, rook takes, queen to e5. Queen to e5 threatens to pick up this pawn with the knight, just to support the knight anyways. So a6 followed, then d5. Pawn takes on d5, opening an attack on the queen. Queen takes the pawn check. He has to close with the queen. The threat is clear. The queen wants to go to the back rank and cause some problems. So we have queen stepping aside to c5. Rook goes back home. Rook to e1 attacks the queen and skewer the rook. So we have queen stepping aside. Knight comes up. With this knight's move, on just move 31, while watching this game live, it is intense. Everywhere became elated and pressure tensioned with a lot of pressure on the air. Why? Because knight to d6 is coming. If this knight gets to that square, it's a monster knight. So what to do? In this position here, there is a way to stop this, and Dean Liren find it. First of all, he play rook to f8 first, allowing knights to go there is a trick. Then he found a counter with this move, rook to c7. You take the queen, I take your queen. Everybody's okay. Then it will be a fight for light square bishop and the knight in the end game. So Gukesh declined this particular counter with this move, queen to a5. After queen to f6, offering the queen, he played check. King steps in. Now rook comes up. After rook to e7, there is doubling of rook. Rook takes rook. Rook takes. Now we have pawn push, creating room so that the king can have breathing space. The queen rather moves to c5 with the intention to apply pressure on the bishop on c8. It's defended once. What to do? Here, bishop moves away. Knight comes in, attacking the queen. Queen to f4. After the rook moves up, we have bishop to f5. Now, queen to d4 comes in to threaten checkmate in 1. Rook to g8 defense. Here, pawn push. We have queen to c1 check. After this move, bishop takes the knight on e4. Rook takes, pawn to c3. Pawn to c3 disconnects these two pawns, creating pawn weaknesses after this capture and capture. Then king moves to g3. Queen to b3, we have rook goes up again. Pawn push. We have this series of moves. In a short while, we have a draw. So this is how game 13 ended in a draw between Gukesh and Dean Lewin. Thank you for watching this video. Watch out for game 14.